in case of sexual reproduction, there are two gametes, right? Male gamete and female gamete. So male gamete contains haploid set of chromosome and female gamete contains haploid set of chromosomes. So how many chromosomes are there in case of human beings?
46.
Yes, 46. मतलब haploid में Down syndrome. There is something called as Klinefelter syndrome, जहाँ पे एक क्रोमोसोम ज्यादा हो जाता है. In case of Down syndrome, there is एक क्रोमोसोम extra. In case of Klinefelter syndrome, there is a one sex chromosome extra. In case of Turner syndrome, there is one chromosome less. मतलब ये तुम लोग को अभी तक शायद पता नहीं होगा. I understand, but don't worry, you will learn all these things in your 12th standard first chapter. Okay, so the point of telling all these things is यहाँ पे क्रोमोसोम का नंबर बहुत ज्यादा मैटर करता है. बट इफ यू थिंक वेरी क्लियरली, यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, जो भी मेटिंग हो रहा है या फिर रिप्रोडक्शन हो रहा है, लेट्स टेक एग्जांपल ऑफ ह्यूमन बीइंग्स अगेन, इट इज लाइक वन ह्यूमन मेटिंग विद द अनदर ह्यूमन. ओके, लाइक मेल एंड फीमेल, राइट? सो द स्पीसीज इज सेम, बट इन केस ऑफ म्यूल क्या होता है, इट्स फीमेल horse and the male donkey. So you can see there are two different species in one. Okay, वो भी ठीक है, which is very rare. ऐसा नहीं होता है जनरली. ये दो species अलग species एक साथ mating करके they are producing offspring. It's not that common, right? It's one of the rarest event. And but ठीक है, rare भी है, fine. But surprisingly उनका जो offspring निकल रहा है, that is a mule, which is very much stable and which is having a very good qualities and properties which are of more importance in a many other we can say places like Himalayan places, जहाँ पे उनको बहुत अच्छे से मतलब उनका डिमांड बहुत ज्यादा है because they are of a huge use, right? तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, in case of horses there are 32 pairs of chromosomes. Okay, मतलब haploid set में कितना रहेगा, 32 रहेगा. And in case of donkeys there are 31 pairs of chromosomes. Okay, मतलब haploid में कितना रहेगा,
31.
या 31. सो जब भी इन लोग का मेटिंग होता है, व्हाट हैपेंस, हॉर्स से कितना आएगा, 32 आएगा, डॉन्की से कितना आएगा, 31 आएगा, एंड दे विल फॉर्म वन काइंड ऑफ zygote, I can see, let's say. बट क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे, जैसे मैंने बोला कि पेयरिंग होता है, वन फ्रॉम मदर वन फ्रॉम फादर, ऐसा पूरा एक स्टेट बनता है, राइट? बट इन दिस क्या हो रहा है कि यहाँ पे एक क्रोमोसोम एक्स्ट्रा हो रहा है बिकॉज हॉर्स के पास एक एक्स्ट्रा है, 32 है, और डॉन्की के पास एक कम है, 31 है. सो बाकी सब तो क्रोमोसोम्स मैच हो जाएंगे मे बी, बट देन जो एक क्रोमोसोम है वो वैसे ही रह जाता है. And that's why I think in the last lecture Sharon was saying there is odd number of chromosomes, 63 here, 63 here. Yeah, that's why it is 63 because एक क्रोमोसोम किसी के भी साथ पेयर नहीं कर पाता है, and because of that there is a genetic instability. अभी if you see बाकी सब फंक्शन जो परफॉर्म करते हैं, they are not really getting affected because of this genetic stability. But one of the important feature, that is the reproduction, is getting affected by this particular problem. Why? Because जो उसके सेक्स सेल्स रहते हैं, जो गैमेट्स की बात मैं कर रहा हूँ, मैं इट्स स्पर्म और ओवा, वो प्रोड्यूस नहीं हो पाते बिकॉज वो प्रोडक्शन करने के लिए जो रिक्वायरमेंट होती है, जो इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए होती है, वो इनके पास होती ही नहीं है, या फिर होती है बट दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ डिफेक्टिव, और आई कैन से आधी ही होती है बिकॉज दे आर नॉट हैविंग वन कंप्लीट क्रोमोसोम, राइट? एक ही क्रोमोसोम उनके पास एक्स्ट्रा है और एक क्रोमोसोम मिसिंग है. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म, मे इट बी म्यूल हो या हिमी हो, ये लोग रिप्रोड्यूस नहीं कर पाते बिकॉज ये लोग सेक्स सेल से नहीं बना पाते, ये लोग गैमेट से नहीं बना पाते. नो गैमेट्स, नो सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन. Okay, and that's why they are not producing. But then if you go back, if you remember in the last lecture also मैंने बताया था, there are always some kind of exceptions. So if you go back and just read some kind of history about these things, you will find that there are some mules which actually had given birth to the offspring. There is, I think, 2-3 Hindis. मतलब the number is very less. You can literally count it like within 100, I can say. But then there are such kind of miracles which had happened. वो कैसे हुआ, क्या हुआ, research is still going on. But in a normal case, these mules and hemi cannot reproduce because they do not have a compatible sex chromosome, I can say, and they are not able to produce the cells which are required for sexual reproduction. Okay, is it clear? Sharon?
Yes.
Yeah, Anuj, you are saying something?
नहीं सर वही बोल रहा था क्लियर हो जाए.
Yeah, good. So that's about the Hindi annual wala. Okay, I remember one more question was there about the sterile worker bees, and I'm sorry I forgot to read about it. मुझे अभी याद आ रहा है, but I will let you know in the next class. Okay. So today we are starting the new chapter, that is the systematics of living organisms. So in the last chapter we try to understand, yeah, there is a lot of organisms and they need to be classified, they need to be studied properly, the difference between the livings and non-livings. But अगर हम लोग livings को ही देखें, the number is like I can say huge. Huge मतलब इतना है कि we are not even aware कि कितने total species है. हम लोग को सिर्फ उतने ही species पता है जितना किसी ने report किया है, किसी ने study किया है. But अगर किसी particular, let's say there is something which we are not even knowing कि okay ऐसा कुछ exist करता है. So for that we are not even like for such kind of species there is zero kind of information. But हमें इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है, that does not really mean कि वो exist ही नहीं करते, right? So that's why it become very important to study different kind of organisms and have a proper data regarding them. Okay, so now I will tell you, I think all of you know now what is living organisms और हम लोग living organisms को कैसे characterize करते हैं and which all features are need to be considered when we are talking about living organisms. There is one new term I am introducing in this particular title, that is systematics. So for now just keep in mind system मतलब एक properly well arranged thing मतलब which is not like random basic something, not systematic मतलब properly arranged in a particular order, I can say. Okay, I will explain you exactly what systematic means and how we define it biologically. Okay, and I think all of you are well aware with the instructions now, so skipping this part. And as usual, any doubts, suggestions, clarifications, or even a feedback, I'm okay for everything. So at any moment, at any point, if you feel नहीं समझ रहा है या फिर it's going bouncer या फिर speed is too much, whatever, no matter, you should not hesitate and you can always speak up. Okay, then let's begin with the lecture 1. So I hope there are no doubts regarding the last chapter, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So lecture 1. So before starting, like this is again because we're talking about living organisms, and I think it's important to know उसका background क्या है, क्यों करना है हम लोग को systematical study उसको, right? So first thing, biodiversity. I think now all of you are well aware. We already have discussed what is biodiversity.
Change in species.
Change in, sorry.
Species.
Yeah. So biodiversity or change in species. Change in species क्यों बोल रहे हो तुम Sharon? Why change? We can say
सब
variety.
कुछ yes अलग अलग रहते हैं ना.
So not change, it's variety, right? There is a lot of variation between different species, among different species. So that is a biodiversity. And we actually had seen in last lecture how important. So it's a kind of degree of variation which is observed in different organisms. You start from a smallest one and you end up with the largest one. There is difference in the color, in their behavior, in their habitat. Multiple factors are there, right? So this all contributes towards biodiversity. If and I also told you one thing last class, that this nowadays people are taking a lot of effort to protect this biodiversity. हम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा efforts ले रहे हैं. So there are two ways I had told you for conservation of biodiversity. Can you please tell me which were they? For conservation of biodiversity, there are two ways. What are they? Seriously, हम लोगों ने just एक दिन पहले किया है ये, लाइक संडे एंड ट्यूसडे। बायोडाइवर्सिटी कैसे कंजर्व करेंगे हम लोग? ओके, टेल मी व्हाट इज इन सिटू कंजर्वेशन?
एनिमल्स जहाँ रहते हैं उधर ही हम लोग वाइल्ड लाइफ बनाते हैं, तो वो इन सिटू हो गया।
ओके, एंड अनदर इज एक्स सिटू
उन
कंजर्वेशन।
लोग का ट्रांसफर करते हैं एक जगह से दूसरे जगह और उधर बनाते हैं, तो वो एक सिटू।
Okay. So that is right. So there are two ways. If someone asks you what are the two ways for biodiversity conservation, so you can talk in terms of in situ and ex situ. Okay, so these are two important ways we are following. अगर कोई जैसे बोला कि एग्जांपल लेके बता, so for in situ conservation you can always give example of national parks. For ex situ conservation, what can be the example?
जू।
Yeah, zoological parks. Yeah, very good. So this so that's all about the biodiversity. And as I mentioned, there is a huge diversity of organisms. Okay, so we all are staying on this earth for like last hundreds of years, I can say, starting from the Big Bang theory in few billion years, like in a billion, starting from the Big Bang theory, जो billions of years ago हुआ था, उसके बाद then the first life, and then उसके बाद the first living organism, small single cell, multi cell, then eukaryotic, prokaryotic. There are multiple things, right? So this actually contributed towards the diversity of organism. बहुत कुछ है, बहुत मतलब बहुत कुछ है. I told you ना, starting from even if you go for ants, simple. अभी हम लोग को as a people from city, we just know, I think we just know two types of ants. एक ब्लैक कलर का होता है, एक रेड कलर का होता है. ब्लैक कलर का काटता नहीं है, रेड कलर का बहुत जोर से काटता है. That is the basic information we are having, and that is how we actually characterize it. The moment we see red ant, हम लोग बोल लेते अरे अरे नहीं वहां पे मत जा, वहां पे रेड कलर का ants and they will bite you. That is something. So now that has become a kind of key feature कि हाँ, or a characterization or an identification. The moment you see such kind of ant, you will be having some kind of information. How you know this कि वो काटता है या फिर वो नहीं काटता है? Yeah, one I can say by your own experience. One किसी और ने बताया है कि अरे हाँ वहां पे नहीं जाना है, वो काटता है करके. Okay, and one because someone actually has done classification कि okay, this is red, this is a black, this is like there are multiple other types of ants also, but we are not aware about that things. Okay, and then it's not like कि हमें पता नहीं इसलिए वो exist नहीं करता. I repeat that sentence, like मैंने अभी वही बोला, it's not like कि हमें पता नहीं है, it means all over the world it will never exist. No, there are thousands of different types of ants. Okay, and it is very difficult to study because इंडिया में कुछ और है, अमेरिका में कुछ और है, लेट्स से जापान में कुछ और हो सकता है, ब्राजील में कुछ और सकता है. We have no idea, right? And for that now it was very important for the researchers to identify and differentiate, और मुझे ना उनको different classes में divide करना कि हाँ, this will red ant का class, this is a blue, this is a black ant का, and like that. So this kind of identification and differentiation has actually led to the different specialized branch of biology, and which is called as a systematics. Now, what is systematics? Systematics is an arrangement of organism. Okay, or I can say is an arrangement of organism based on different factors. One of the very important factor is a phylogenetic study. Now I will let you know what is phylogenetic study in the next slide, but just keep in mind it is a systematic arrangement of organism. It's as simple as like okay, मेरे पास एक बॉक्स है, उसमें बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, मतलब मैंने 10-15 बॉल्स डाले हैं उसमें, फिर देयर आर मल्टीपल स्मॉल दैट बिट्स काइंड ऑफ थिंग एंड मेनी अदर स्टफ आई हैव पुट इन द सेम बॉक्स. और मुझे किसी ने बोला आई एम गिविंग यू इवन देयर आर सम स्मॉल नीडल्स एज वेल. ओके, एंड मुझे किसी ने बोला आई एम गिविंग यू 1 minute एंड जस्ट गो एंड गेट अ needle फ्रॉम दैट ह्यूज बॉक्स जिसमें 100 different things already present. Definitely it will not be an easy task, right? But अगर वही मैंने पहले से सेपरेट करके रखा रहेगा कि okay, all the balls in a separate, all the bits in a separate, all the fillers in a separate box, that will give me and if someone asks me कि I didn't like yeah, I think it will take hardly few seconds for me to get a needle from a very well organized boxes. So that kind of same thing happen here also. अगर तुम एक साथ जाओगे पढ़ने के लिए जहाँ पे तुम लोग फिशेस को, टेरेस्ट्रियल एनिमल्स को, बर्ड्स को, सबको एक साथ पढ़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, you will create a mess because you will not be able to study them properly. You will not be able to interlink कि उनके क्या relation है. You will not be able to find out कि किसका properties किसके साथ match हो रहा है, and many other things. That's why systematics came in a picture. There is one more term we actually had discussed this in the last chapter, that is a taxonomy, I think, and actually it actually contributes towards the systematic study. So can you tell me what is taxonomy?
Classification, identification, and nomenclature.
Yeah, it is a classification, identification, we can say identification, nomenclature and classification in a systematic way, right? पहले मैं
Yes.
क्लासिफाई नहीं करूंगा, पहले मैं उसको आइडेंटिफाई करूंगा, फिर उसको नाम दूंगा और फिर मैं उसको क्लासिफाई करूंगा. So you should write in a proper sequence. Okay, so that is taxonomy. Very good. So all this, okay, this systematic taxonomy, ultimately what is their goal? It is to classify and nomenclate and give names to the organism. That is to provide a nomenclature. Okay, so that it will be easy for us to study these different kinds of organisms. Okay, so a lot of efforts have been put in from last hundreds of years, जहाँ पे scientists effortlessly काम कर रहे हैं. They are studying different organisms, they are studying different biodiversity hotspot, everything. And now I think at this moment we are actually having a proper system जहाँ पे there are different classes, there are different kingdoms and all, जिससे हम लोग प्रॉपर स्टडी कर सकते हैं ऑफ ईच एंड एवरी ऑर्गेनिज्म. मतलब आई थिंक सब लोगों ने किंगडम एनिमलिया तुम लोग का हुआ रहेगा, राइट?
Yes.
या सो इफ आई जस्ट से स्टारफिश, तुम लोग के दिमाग में कौन सा फाइलम आ रहा है?
मोलस्क.
या मोलस्का, स्टारफिश,
Echinodermata.
Thank you very much. It's Echinodermata. Don't get confused. That's why I purposely give example of starfish, because generally people get confused between starfish and mollusk and Echinodermata. Starfish belongs to Echinodermata. Okay, so that is how. So when I say starfish, people literally like within few seconds you all said yeah, it belongs to Echinodermata. So that's how it became that easy now to identify and understand the biology of different organisms. Simply, अगर मैंने बोल दिया cockroach, which phylum?
Arthropoda.
Which class?
Insecta.
Yeah. So that's how. That is something I can say. That's how it is helping. So this prompt answer is because someone already had classified and given them names and understood their biology, and it provided you all the information on your table so that you can read it and you can use it for your own benefits. फिर तुम लोग उसको अपने knowledge के लिए लो या फिर कुछ फॉरेस्ट के लिए इसको. But that's how it works. Okay. So now already you all have done the kingdom Animalia chapter. I think you all must be aware about the 5 kingdom classification. Do you know which are the 5 kingdom classification system? Like
Kingdom Animalia, Plantae,
Protista, Monera, fungi.
Phytoplasts,
okay, ऐसा बीच में अगर मैंने बोला कि टेल मी द मंथ्स ऑफ द ईयर, तो तुम लोग ऐसा बता दोगे क्या? जून, दिसंबर, देन मार्च, देन अक्टूबर, देन जनवरी, राइट? देन
Plantae, Animalia, Protista, Monera, and fungi.
नहीं, Monera, Protista, Plantae, fungi, Animalia.
Okay, still wrong. Okay, I'm happy that you all know 5 names. Okay, that is correct. Yeah, whatever the names you are telling me, 5 kingdom, absolutely correct. But the order you are telling me is not correct.
Monera, Protista, fungi, Plantae, Animalia.
Yes, so now this is the right order. So the 5 kingdom classification, and who gave this classification system?
with the
R.J. Whittaker.
Yeah, Whittaker was the one who actually has given the 5 kingdom classification system, and it includes 5 kingdoms, namely Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. So why I'm focusing or why I'm emphasizing more on the order, because it actually shows you the evolution. ऐसा नहीं है कि मन में आया और कर दिया कुछ भी क्लासिफाई नहीं. It is actually shows you. When I say Monera, it is the most primitive kind of organisms. When I say Animalia, these are most evolved kind of organisms. So that is how it is actually done. When I say Protista, it is also, what is the difference between Monera and Protista, by the way? See, this if you are not knowing, that's absolutely fine, because ये same हम लोग ये चैप्टर में पढ़ने वाले हैं. I'm just asking you out of curiosity because I thought तुम लोगों ने शायद स्कूल डेज में किया रहेगा, but no issues. Okay, so basically I will tell you what is the difference between Protista, Monera, fungi, and how they are now having some special features. Okay, then before starting, now we have to have a clear idea and the definitions, because in a full chapter we will be talking about systematics and the taxonomy. Then we can talk about chemotaxonomy, and there are multiple different terms you will be listening first time. So don't worry, and please highlight in your book or note it down in your book, because this is not something that तुम लोग बहुत दिनों से पढ़ते आ रहे. This is something new. So it is your responsibility to put in थोड़ा extra efforts and make your own notes. Okay. So systematic, as I already have said, it is a systematic arrangement of a organism. But if I want to define it very with a standard definition, so the standard definition was given by G. Simpson in 1961, and it says that systematic is the study of kinds and diversity of organisms and their comparative and evolutionary relationship. So I had used one word in the last slide, that is a phylogenetic relationship. Okay, so phylogenetic relationship or evolutionary relationship is same. Evolution matlab we actually try to study how a particular organism is evolved, and we try to establish its relationship. So let's say there is organism X. Okay, और वो X था, अब वो X का X1, X2, X3 ऐसा different forms हो रहा है. Not very quickly, but let's say 10 साल पहले वो X था, now it has become X1. Maybe after 20 years it may become X2, and there is small. It's not like बहुत बड़ा कुछ, तो मतलब एकदम ऐसे कॉकरोच का सांप बन रहा है, ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है. It's like very small changes happening in this particular organisms. Okay, and this, if I want to find out, so after 40 years I will not be knowing कि ये जो X2 है ये कहाँ से आया है, ये X का ही descendant है या ये कुछ और है. So to study all this kind of studies, okay, यहाँ पे मैं X को study करूँगा in comparison with the X1 and X2, this kind of studies are actually given by or done by evolutionary relationship, जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं phylogenetic analysis. Please note it down, phylogenetic analysis, जिसका मतलब है evolutionary studies, जहाँ पे हम लोग evolution study करते हैं particular species, particular organism. Okay, so that is the standard definition of systematics. After that comes in a picture taxonomy. You all already know what is taxonomy, but just to brush up again. So in case of taxonomy, the word taxonomy itself has come from the Greek word. Why it is a Greek word? Then there are two Greek words basically, taxis and nomos, and these two are actually combined to form the word taxonomy. Okay, what does this taxis and nomos mean? Taxis matlab arrangement and nomos matlab law or rule. Okay, so in Greek the arrangement and law or rule, these two words are there and they are combined to form this particular word taxonomy, which means classification following a certain rules or principle. It's not random. They actually have a set of principles, set of rules which needs to be followed in order to do a particular classification, and that is called as taxonomy. और ये जो concept है taxonomy का, the term itself was first introduced by a scientist, which is a Swiss botanist actually, Epide Caton. Okay, so what you need to keep in mind, taxonomy is a systematic, is a classification of a particular is a classification of organisms following a set of specific rules and principles. Okay, and the term was given by Epide Caton. Okay, now systematics हो class taxonomy हो, ultimately हम लोग कर क्या रहे हैं? We are trying to classify them. We are trying to classify them into different classes, different groups, so that it will be easy to study them, right? So that's why classification becomes one of the important aspects in such kind of studies. Okay, so when I want to classify, let's say I am giving you a sack full of balls which contains red, yellow, green, blue. Okay, and then I ask you to classify them. How will you do that? You will make red को सबको separate करोगे, blue को सबको separate करोगे, green को सबको separate करोगे, right? That is the way. Now, on what basis you are doing this kind of
Color.
classification? Color. But if I told you there are the balls which I have provided in the set are just not of different color, but of different sizes as well. So this is a small ball, there is a average size, middle like size ball, and there is a largest size ball. So there again you will, what you will do? You can put up the category red, और red के अंदर सबसे smallest, उससे थोड़ा बड़ा, and then सबसे बड़ा. That's how you will do a classification of a particular system, right? So similar rules we actually follow here also. We actually classify different organisms based on their similarities and dissimilarities. Okay, so what does it actually mean? मतलब अगर let's say I have okay, a very common example again. So there is tiger, there is lion, there is leopard, there is cheetah. What do you think? ये सबको हम लोग एक ग्रुप पे डाल सकते हैं या नहीं?
डाल सकते.
Okay, what can be that group?
Cat, Panthera.
Yeah, they are actually Panthera cat group, right? So, but if you see as a broad group, yeah, they can be. But if you see at an individual level, tiger is far different from lion. They are having few characters common, and that's why we call it this typical cat group, cat family. But they are actually far different. So you can see, tiger has a different morphological characters. उसके पीछे वो black pattern रहता है, but which is absent in a lion. Whereas lion has this typical, I don't know what they call it in English. जो उसके neck पे जो बाल रहते हैं, the typical feature of a lion, male lions, to be very clear, that is not present in tiger. So at individual level, each species is different, but they have few characters common based on which we are actually classifying them. Okay, so that is something like we can say there are similarities and dissimilarities. Okay, so overall, if I want to tell you what is classification, it is the arrangement of organisms or a group of organisms in a distinct categories, okay, in accordance with the particular and a well-established plan. I think till now all of you must be convinced with the fact that yeah, arrangement करना है, properly करना है, different groups में करना है. What I feel is the more important here is in accordance with a particular and a well-established plan. Because if you just see in every slide I'm saying we don't need to do it randomly. It needs a particular plan, proper information चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब मेरे मन में आ गया और मैंने कर दिया. No, you should be able to give a proper reason why you are putting a particular organism in a particular group. और अगर तुम वहां पे डाल रहे हो तो what are the characteristics which are common? Because if you all have studied Kingdom Animalia, so I'm going back to Kingdom Animalia, and if you move from starting from the first phylum itself, Porifera, to the last one, Chordata. Each and every phylum is having its peculiar features, right? So let's take example of Annelida. Which animals belong to Annelida?
earthworm,
Yeah, earthworm. Why it is called as Annelida, by the way? Annelida, earthworm. Just try to link what you
ring
just.
रिंग
Yeah,
शेप में होते हैं.
yeah, ring, that annulus we call it. So annulus से annelida निकला है. So if you have seen earthworm also, उसके body पे small ring like structures रहते हैं. It's like कि बहुत सारे rings को join करके एक बड़ा earthworm बना है, kind of thing होता है. So that's why. So now whenever I say annelida, you just said that क्योंकि ये ring like structure. I can say metamerically segmented organisms, basically. So, okay, that is a characteristic feature of Annelida. So, tomorrow, if I find an organism which is not earthworm, which is not really any other organism, which is not really at all close to earthworm, but the same organism is showing me this metamerically segmented characteristic feature, जहाँ पे उसके body पे this segmentation is there. So I can easily say, okay, even though it is not showing a very close characteristics with the earthworm, its metamerically segmented properties can make it eligible to classify it under Annelida. तो उसको हम लोग Annelida में डाल सकते हैं. So based on, so that's what I'm trying to tell. It's important to have a particular and well-established plan. So now we are having a plan. So जब भी हम लोग बोलते हैं something sponge-like, people will go for porifera, something radial symmetry with a cylindrical size. People will go for Coelenterata. Then there is Platyhelminthes, there is Nemohelminthes. There are multiple different phylums now for animals. Same if you go for plants, you can say, okay, your plant is seed bearing or non-seed bearing. तो उसमें क्या difference है? मतलब multiple things. So these are something, these things जो हम लोग जिसके बेसिस पर हम लोग classify कर रहे हैं is nothing but the established plan, established characteristic feature. So one need to study and understand these features first before doing any kind of classification. Okay. So there are multiple attempts where people had tried to do classification, and there are multiple ways actually by which they have tried to do classification. So it includes three important: artificial classification, natural classification, and phylogenetic classification. Okay. All of them basically, overall it is based on the similarities and dissimilarities, but still there is something which makes them different. Okay, now what is artificial classification? Artificial classification is something based on the easily observable and non-evolutionary features. Okay, जैसे कि मैंने अभी एग्जांपल लिया था, इजीली मतलब जैसे अर्थवर्म का, अगर मुझे कोई रिंग लाइक स्ट्रक्चर दिख रहा है, लंबा दिख रहा है, okay, worm like दिख रहा है, I can say it belongs to Annelida. So based on such kind of features, their habit, their color, their behavior, based on such kind of things, if I'm doing classification, it is called as a artificial classification. But at this moment, I am not having any information about their evolution. That's why the word non-evolutionary has come here. Because I can just tell you based on the features they are showing me. I have no understanding at this moment in case of artificial classification कि वो particular organism with evolution क्या हुआ है, या फिर it is some modified version, या फिर ये किसी का evolved form है. I have no idea, but just based on the properties and the features it is showing, I can classify it. And this kind of classification is called as artificial classification. Okay, no matter कि उसका relationship क्या है with other organism, वो closely related है या it's not closely related, that is not really considered in this particular type of classification. और अगर मैं example दूं तुम्हें, so it includes linear system of classification. So do you have any idea who is Carl Linnaeus or what is linear system? Anyone? What is linear system? I don't want you to tell me क्लासिफिकेशन क्या होता है या फिर who is linear, क्या है उसका contribution to biology? Do you know there is something called as binomial nomenclature? Yes, no? कुछ तो बताओ. चलो, do you know there is something called as scientific names?
Yes.
Okay, what is the scientific name of human beings? कुछ पता है?
Homo sapiens.
Yeah, Homo sapiens. Very good. So what is this Homo and what is this sapiens? Why two words?
सर लीनियस का मतलब बताऊं?
हाँ.
सर ये मतलब हमें टैक्सोनॉमी में स्पीशीज के नाम देने में हेल्प करता है, ऐसा
हाँ.
कुछ.
हाँ. So it's not really a word कि हम लोग उसका मतलब देखें. Actually, it is the name of scientist. So there is a great scientist named as Carl Linnaeus.
ओके
Okay.
सर.
He is a botanist, I think. Yeah, he is a biologist. Sorry, and he actually had given this system of nomenclature of organism. So, and that nomenclature system is called as binomial nomenclature. Okay, so if you see, जैसे कि मैंने बोला, just so you only told me कि scientific name जो हम लोग देते हैं, because trivial names या फिर common names were very confusing. A simple name अगर मैं बोलूँ यहाँ पे, तो उसको हम लोग महाराष्ट्र में कुछ और बोलते हैं, गुजरात में कुछ, like I think स्वीट पोटैटो इज अ गुड एग्जांपल. स्वीट पोटैटो को हम लोग मराठी में रताया बोलते हैं, हिंदी में कुछ और बोलते हैं, केरला में कुछ और बोलते हैं. देयर आर मल्टीपल नेम्स फॉर दिस सिंगल थिंग. ओके, बाय फीचर्स आई कैन टेल यू इट इज समथिंग लाइक अ पोटैटो जो हम लोग फास्टिंग डे पे खाते हैं. वो इट इज समथिंग जो अंडरग्राउंड ग्रो होता है, उसको रेडिश ब्राउन कलर का कवरिंग रहता है. अगर मैंने ये सब फीचर्स दिया, आई थिंक एनीवन कैन आइडेंटिफाई कि इट इज, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट स्वीट पोटैटो. But if I am, but it will not give me any, but I just tell you a name की okay आज मैंने रताळा, आज मी रताळा खाल्ला, so मला मराठी मध्ये सांगितलं. So I think the people who are not well versed with Marathi or are not able to understand Marathi will not understand कि exactly मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, exactly मैंने क्या खाया. So that is was a problem in biology. Okay, people used to give name as at a thing, at a नेटिव लेवल या तो वेरी बेसिक लेवल कि हाँ ये प्लांट को हम लोग ये बोलेंगे, ये एनिमल को हम लोग ये बोलेंगे. बट ऐसे सब लोगों ने अपने हिसाब से नाम देना चालू कर दिया, एंड देन इट बिकेम अ टीडियस टास्क टू आइडेंटिफाई. And that's why Carl Linnaeus actually gave this particular binomial nomenclature system, which includes two names. That's why, which actually includes two names, and that's how we started naming the scientific name. तो जैसे तुमने बोला Homo sapiens. What is binomial nomenclature? Binomial मतलब जिसमें दो नाम involved होते हैं. Okay, so it is a system which includes two naming of a particular organism, and it includes genus and a species. Okay, so Homo sapien. Homo is a genus, sapiens is a species. Okay, that's how we go for naming a different organisms. If you go for any plant, let's say mango. Mango का scientific name किसी को पता है? It's Mangifera indica. Mangifera is a genus, indica is a species. So that's how the particular new system had started, known as binomial nomenclature by Carl Linnaeus, and which actually help to identify and classify the organism. So यहाँ पे कैसे ना, if you see Mangifera indica, so there are, now this is one name, but there are multiple different types of mangoes. So you will see there is Mangifera indica, there is Mangifera something else, something else. So but the genus name जो है उसका Mangifera, that will be common in all the names. So based on this, the Linnaeus actually form a system of classification. So as you all already studied the kingdom Animalia, so तुम लोगों ने जब start किया था, you must have started from the very basic classification कि chordata, non-chordata, फिर उसके अंदर then the 10 phylums, right? Kingdom Animalia, उसके अंदर 2 major groups, chordata, non-chordata, and then we started the phylum system. फिर phylum में there is a class, then उसके अंदर family, उसके अंदर order, then genus, and then species. So this particular way in which we actually classify the organism based on domain. Now I will tell you what is domain. Till now I have not explained what is domain, but I will let you know. Okay, for now just keep in mind there is something called as domain, then kingdom, then phylum, then class, order, family, genus, and species. So in this way we actually started classifying the particular organism, and this particular system is called as a Linnaeus system of classification. Okay, ये समझा?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, basically it is classifying in different categories. तो हम लोग सबसे पहले डोमेन में जाएंगे, फिर किंगडम में जाएंगे, फिर उसको फाइलम में डिवाइड करेंगे, so that we will get a one final. So when we reach the species level, there is no more confusion, because one species is one species. If I say Naja Naja is a sorry, scientific name of cobra. Okay, so when I say Naja, there is no confusion. But if I say reptile, then there is a confusion, because अगर मैंने reptile बोल दिया तो reptiles में क्या क्या आता है? It can be snake, it can be lizard, it can be crocodile, it can be any other animal. Okay, so genus and species level classification actually gives you more clarity about the particular organism. Okay, and that kind of system was actually given by the Linnaeus, that is Carl Linnaeus. Okay, and it is an artificial way. Then the second type of classification is the natural classification. Okay, it is based on the objectively significant characters, like very special characters जो particular species दिखाता है, and based on that actually these particular characters are actually selected for classification of the particular group of organisms. Okay, so few peculiar features and we will start doing classification, and this kind of classification was actually given by Bentham and Hooker. Now Bentham and Hooker's system of classification is actually more of towards the kingdom Plantae classification. So they actually had classified kingdom Plantae into different groups based on their classification system. So I will not go in detail because you must have studied this in your kingdom Plantae chapter. So they actually had given, okay, there is seeded plant. The seeded plant can be of different groups, so different classes again. So we know there is something called as dicotyledons, monocotyledons. There is something called as gymnosperm, angiosperm. There can be different families, subclasses, and all. So this particular system was actually given by Bentham and Hooker, and it is solely based on the specialized properties shown by a particular group of organisms. So अगर एग्जांपल दूं, जैसे कि मैंने अभी यहाँ पे पढ़ा था प्लांट्स का, तो प्लांट्स में अगर मुझे क्लासिफाई करना है, व्हाट कैन बी द वेरी बेस मेजर क्लासिफिकेशन कैटेगरी फॉर प्लांट्स? तुम लोगों का किंगडम प्लांट हो चुका है? Are you done?
No.
Okay, no worries. So अगर सिंपली अगर तुम लोग को मैंने बोला कि प्लांट्स को हम लोग को क्लासिफाई करना है, व्हाट डू यू थिंक सबसे अपर वाला क्या रहेगा? सबसे ब्रॉड वे में हम लोग कैसे कर सकते हैं उसको? If I ask you to classify plants, कैसे करेंगे? सिंपल, मतलब तुम लोग को जो भी लग रहा है, I'm okay with any answer, not really a very standard bookish answer.
लीफ वेनेशन देखना है.
Yeah, that can be one, right?
फ्लावर का मॉर्फोलॉजी देखना है.
Yeah, again, right? But very broadly. सीड का या ओके, सीड का क्या? बट
सीड का.
So you are correct, Sharon, no doubt. We will check on their leaves, we will check on their vegetation pattern, flower color, everything we will check. But सबसे पहले we need to check on कि ये जो flowers या seeds की तुम बात कर रहे हो, are they actually produced by a particular plant or not? So the first classification or category I can say कि seed bearing plant and non seed bearing plant. कि जो plant जो seeds को produce करते हैं, plant जो seeds को produce करते ही नहीं. And from that then we keep on developing that further groups and we will end up at the monocotyledons, dicotyledons, then or to be more broad category, then we come towards angiosperm, gymnosperm. There is something called as bryophyta and all. I will go, like, I don't want to go in detail, but whenever you study the chapter Kingdom Plantae, you will get to know exactly what I'm trying to explain. Okay, so these are some characteristic features based on which we actually go for a natural classification. Or if you want to give the example, it is a Bentham and Hooker's system of classification, जिन लोगों ने सीडेड प्लांट को क्लासिफाई किया था. Okay, so this is the Bentham and Hooker's classification system. Now the third, and I think one of the important way to classify the organisms is based on their phylogenetic. Now, what is phylogenetic? As I already have mentioned, it is an evolutionary studies. Okay, so it is a classification based on a common evolutionary descent. मतलब there is something has to be common. Let's say एक particular organism है, and that particular organism is undergoing evolution and forming different species. Now the different species are actually what? They are actually the evolved version of the same organism जिनसे वो निकले हैं, right? So now we can actually study this kind of information based on the phylogenetic analysis. Okay, and it is one of the very important one because it will help you to get a lot of significant information to understand the biology of this kind of organisms. Okay, and the example of this kind of classification is the Engler and Prandtl classification. I tried to find some what can I say, pictorial representation for this also, but I could not get it. So if you get something, please read about it and let me know also. Okay, but the simple funda here, like if you can see this particular diagram here, यहाँ पे common ancestor है. Let's say single cell, very primitive kind of living life, I can say. Maybe single cell भी नहीं, उससे भी कुछ बहुत primitive रहेगा वो. And then सबसे पहले उससे निकला bacteria. Then bacteria nikla, okay, that is a one group. It became one domain then, or one important category. Then the same organism keep on evolving, and then it formed archaea, matlab another group of organism, and then it again keep on developing and evolving, and finally we got something like eukarya. Now there are three important domains of a living world: bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. Looking at this particular diagram, what do you like, this blue line, this orange line, this green line, this black line? What do you really understand? Can anyone explain me? Like
They have common ancestor.
yeah, they have common ancestors. Very good. Anything else?
यूकैरिया इवॉल्व हुआ है
Yeah, evolve.
प्रोकैरियोट से।
Okay. और
सब प्रोकैरियोट से इवॉल्व हुए।
okay. और अगर मुझे जानना है कि कौन सा किससे ज्यादा क्लोज है, तो वो मुझे इंफॉर्मेशन मिल रहा है क्या इससे?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So which one is close to eukarya?
आर्के
Yeah, archaea. And which one is? So I can say bacteria and archaea are same.
Little bit.
Little bit, like not very same. So that's how, that's kind of information. So this is just one diagram, and based on that you could tell me कि वो common ancestor से निकले हैं. They
क्या आर्किया क्या होता है?
archaea, yeah, that I will explain. So it is also a group of organisms only. Okay, so there are three domains of life. जितने भी organisms है on earth, we have classified them into three important domains. So I told you, there is something called as a domain system. So यहाँ पे दिखाया था मैंने तुम लोगों को डायग्राम, यहाँ पे yeah. So तुम लोगों ने kingdom पढ़ा है, तुम लोगों ने kingdom Animalia से start किया था. So you know what is kingdom. But kingdom के भी ऊपर there is one major category, and that is called as domain. Okay. So there are three important domains in which we are currently studying. It includes bacteria, archaea and eukarya. Okay, bacteria तो लोग को पता ही है क्या होता है, eukarya, eukaryotics one, and then there is something called as archaea. I will explain you what is archaea in the next slide. Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you, this is just one diagram, and from this one diagram you could understand कि वो common ancestor से you could find that कि okay सब लोग common ancestor से पहले prokaryote and then prokaryotes evolved हुए हैं. You could tell me कि archaea and eukarya are little bit closely related to each other. However, also there is small relation between bacteria and archaea as well. So there are few. So this is the information we try to obtain from a particular phylogenetic analysis. Okay. So now, as I mentioned, 3 domain system. So there are 3 domains which are present currently, which are we actually use for studying the living life. As I mentioned, the life is originated on Earth in its very simplest form. Matlab, there is one chapter in your 12th standard, origin and evolution. Okay, and in that chapter, we always have this question, right? Pehle murgi ya pehle anda? We still do not have answer for this particular question. In a similar way, it's always kind of fascinating to understand exactly ये cell बना कैसे. Now we can say, okay, we have human beings, we have animals, we have another plants, bacteria, there are multiple things. But ये सबसे पहला जो cell बना रहेगा वो बना कैसे? Anyone? Any idea? What do you think? ऐसे ही कहीं पे तो सेल प्रोड्यूस हुआ रहेगा क्या? No. So the first cell is actually evolved from the biomolecules. So if you remember, हमने already biomolecules study किया था. So protein, lipids, and carbs वगैरह ये सब actually non-living cells were present, and then these cells actually under a particular atmospheric conditions and all ये सब जुड़ गए, and then we got something like the first cell, very first cell. Okay, and it was a very simplest form. मतलब जैसे हमें पता है कि prokaryotes is a simplest one, right? उसको क्या रहता है, सिर्फ cell membrane, cell covering रहता है, and a small unorganized nucleoid रहता है. But this simplest is even the उससे भी पहले का stage, जहाँ पे मतलब शायद उससे भी simple form में रहेगा. But as and when the revolution started, the simplest form became more and more complex, and it started forming different forms of life. Okay, and ultimately now we have multiple different types of animals, different groups, different animals with different properties and features. Okay, so as I like, it is a bit difficult because इतना अभी variations आ गया है हर चीज में कि उसका track रखना, उसको record रखना was a problem. Okay, to solve this problem, this scientist known as Carl Woese came forward, and in 1990 he proposed the 3 domains of life. Okay, from these 3 domains of life, he classified all the living beings on Earth into these 3 domains, which includes archaea, bacteria, and eukarya. Okay, so till now you must be knowing there are like even I think I only have told you this. There are 2 important types of cells, prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So if you see these 3 domains, so the archaea and bacteria, they actually belong to the prokaryotic group, whereas eukarya is the only group which includes all the eukaryotes. Now you ask me, what is archaea? So archaea is also prokaryote, but these are the organisms which can actually survive in extreme conditions. फिर वो salinity हो सकता है, pH हो सकता है, temperature हो सकता है, many other things, but under extreme conditions. Okay, then you will ask me, then what is अगर दोनों भी prokaryotes से, then why actually they have made it separate, archaea और bacteria क्यों किया है, right? Because they actually show difference in their structure. So the bacteria is having a different structure, let's say cell wall, and the archaea is having a different. Bacterial cell wall is made up of what?
Peptidoglycan.
Thank you very much. So bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. But if you go for archaea, this organism's cell wall is not made up of peptidoglycan. It is made up of something called as pseudopeptidoglycan. So that is a difference. Okay, and because of these differences and their behavior and their properties, he actually had made them he actually had kept them in a two different groups. So that's why there are three domains: archaea, bacteria, eukarya. Okay, and as I mentioned, domain is the unit that is larger than kingdom. So kingdom के भी ऊपर अभी तक हमें क्या पता कि there is kingdom system. The kingdom के अंदर there is a phylums and there is a classes, subclasses, superclasses, orders, genus, family, there are multiple things, right? But इन सब के ऊपर जो आता है that is a domain. So now तुम लोगों ने kingdom Animalia study किया है. So which domain the kingdom Animalia should belong?
Eukaryotic.
Yeah, definitely eukaryotic, right? So it belongs to the domain eukarya. Okay, and it is the largest category which is above the kingdom system. And on what basis उसने ये सब क्यों किया और on what basis किया? Okay, this few things which I told you, prokaryotes, eukaryotes, even the external conditions, cell wall, material, composition difference वगैरह ये सब तो ठीक है. But there is one more thing he had done, and that was classification based on the ribosomal RNA, rRNA. Okay, so if you remember during the biomolecules, I had explained you something called as rRNA and the sequencing of rRNA. क्यों करते हैं हम लोग rRNA sequencing? क्या फायदा होगा अगर मैंने rRNA को sequence किया तो? And why only rRNA? Why not mRNA? Why not tRNA? So I think with this we should stop because I did not notice